10 to 12 old iPod cables. This is We Have Concerns. Hi, Jeff Cannata.
Hi, Anthony Carboni.
Hello, concerned citizens. Jeff, we started this show.
We did?
With a dream. We were just young kids in the Great Depression. You especially were a young kid in the Great Depression. And we were in a garage and we were thinking, now that the war is over, what do we do? We had come back with the ennui, with the malaise.
Yes.
And it was real Razor's Edge, not the movie, the book. And we were thinking, what do we do now? What do we do now that we've seen the world?
Remember.
And
it was like yesterday.
Yeah,
I remember it so clearly.
Regular life just seems so mundane and useless, and there wasn't a word for PTSD yet, and we thought, what do we do? We'll start a podcast, we said.
Right. Because that's the next logical conclusion you come to.
That's the next logical conclusion you can come to. A conclusion, kakoosh. Speaking English right off the bat today. Ooh-wee. But no, we started this podcast, but one of the things that we started this podcast with, if you remember, was the Drake equation.
Yes, indeed. That was one of the very first episodes that we recorded as an experiment.
As an experiment when the world was new. Nobody had heard of podcasts yet.
We were like, "What's this thing? We're two white guys with beards. We should be recording our voices and putting it out into the world." I
can't believe we were the first people to think of it. And there were only two podcasts when we started. It was WTF and Coverville. Those were the only podcasts.
Yes, the only podcasts.
There were no other podcasts then.
Thank God Mark Maron invented podcasting so that we could do what we're doing.
But we started off talking about the Drake equation, which, if you're unfamiliar, the treasure hunter Nathan Drake created this equation to find the lost treasure of Sir Francis Drake. And
it all goes back to his necklace, really.
It all goes back to, and he's not, listen, can I tell you something? I don't think his name's really Nathan Drake.
What?
I don't think this guy's who we think he is. No, Frank Drake in 1961, he was an astronomer. He proposed that having knowledge of 7 factors would allow us to reasonably estimate the number of intelligent alien civilizations there are, right?
Yes.
This is the idea.
It seems unfathomable to me that there are not other intelligent alien civilizations. 7 factors. What are the factors, Anthony?
7 factors. Number 1, so to find out, it's the X factor. They have to have it. Sometimes you see a civilization and you just know, like,
it's a je ne sais quoi, right?
They walk in. It's like they take all the air out of the room the moment they walk in.
Yeah, you're like, work it, alien civilization. Yes.
So basically, it's the number of alien civilizations with which we could communicate. All has to do with factors of the mean rate of star formation in the universe, the fraction of stars that have planets, the mean number of planets that could support life per stars with planets, right? Each of those stars has to have a certain number of planets, just like ours. The fraction of life-supporting planets that can develop life, the fraction of planets with life where life develops intelligence, right? Mm-hmm. And then the fraction of intelligent civilizations that can develop communication, and then the mean length of time that civilizations can communicate before their inevitable demise, because we're all pessimists, right?
Right. It's a subset of a subset of a subset of a subset, all the way down, and yet
here's
the size of the universe means there's still a pretty big number of those.
That's the trick, right? And we have looked at the Drake equation a certain number of times, and estimates vary wildly from maybe there are like 100 to maybe there are like 1 billion, and they all have, and they're. All of these estimates are done by researchers who put in good math, good estimates. They show their work. Here's the problem. Every single variable in the Drake equation is still a variable. We don't know the value of one single variable in that equation.
Right.
And so we've been like, what do we do? What are we going to find out? How are we going to know? But Jeff, I'm here to tell you.
Yeah.
We figured out the number.
Oh, good. All of the numbers are just a number.
We figured out the final answer, buddy. How many alien civilizations are there out there that we can communicate with?
Okay.
36.
36. That seems very precise.
It's very
Have
precise.
we talked to any of them yet?
It's very precise, Jeff, because it's science and math.
Oh, pardon me. We're talking about precision. We're talking about precision, fundamental precision sciences. I get it. How did we get to 36 exactly?
So, because all of these things have been so unknown for so long, we're like, look, we got to figure out something. It's like that Sudoku video we watched a couple weeks ago. We just need one thing to start this off, right? It's
a domino effect. It seems impossible, and you say, oh, this is impossible. This is impossible. And then, of course, one value, and then it's magic, and then the universe is singing to you.
Baby, everything will fall into place if you can just get one thing right. I feel that all the time. It's called the Charlie Brown principle. If you could just get one fucking thing right, it would all fall into place.
The hard part for me is of course, I've never gotten one fucking thing right.
Me too. It's all theoretical. It's all theory.
Tough. Yeah.
Well, we're talking about the Drake equation. I want to bring in another scientific theory to you, and it's called the...
I thought you had a guest. I thought you were going to introduce a guest. I want to bring in... I got us a theoretical physicist.
Buddy, this is Frank Drake, back from the dead.
Wow.
It's his brain in a jar, Futurama style. Get ready.
I really feel like... that alone is worthy of an episode. Just this, how you made that happen.
What are you talking about? That's beside the point.
I feel like it's exciting to talk about the Drake equation. No,
he doesn't want to talk about the jar, dude. It makes him uncomfortable. He doesn't want to talk about the jar.
I have questions. I have a few questions. I just want him to answer.
We're not going to take any questions about Dr. Drake's fucking physical appearance. Okay, this is about his work.
I mean, it's not so much the physical appearance; it's the miracle of life in a jar. I feel like that.
What are you doing? I just said not to bring up the jar.
I don't want to offend anybody. I'm sorry.
I literally said, don't say jar, and then there you go.
I'm saying it in a positive way, like, wow,
jar.
Oh,
you're a bad ally. So here's what's up. There's another principle called the astrobiological Copernican principle, okay? And this is the key that gets us our number, all right? And what it basically is just the theory that what worked here is going to work somewhere else.
Well, that makes sense, right? That's all we have to work on. You can imagine, science fiction has taught me that you can imagine intelligent life being based on all kinds of it. We're based on carbon, right? Maybe there's a whole intelligent life based on some other element.
Maybe you're a weird ink squid that lives life in a circle.
Exactly. Science fiction can lead us down all kinds of wonderful paths, but if you're talking about known knowns, what we know is what worked on Earth. So that seems like a pretty valid way to start. It's like, what are the conditions to make another us, right?
And if you want to get a little bit deeper into the astrobiological Copernican principle, what it basically says is, even though we think about things in the universe being one in a billion miracles, which they are, right? Like the very creation of the universe, the very creation of Earth, the very fact that you exist. We should look at these things as wondrous one-offs. We really should. But also something that we've noticed is if the conditions for something are correct, that thing usually happens, right? The formation of a star is a miracle because stars are miracles, but if you got the right chemicals and the right pressure and a star's going to form. You put bread in the oven, it rises, right? That's not a surprise.
Yeah, I get you. So, it's a miracle that those things existed to create that situation, because those things all being in the right place at the right time, in the right relationship to each other, is highly improbable. And yet, once it happens, it's going to result in a certain very specific thing occurring.
Exactly. How long will that star live? How big will that star be? We don't know, but we do know if you put the right stuff in the right order, you're gonna get a star, right? That's what I'm saying.
Literally a way of expressing what science is, right? It's a beautiful way of expressing science. It's going, we're not really sure how all this stuff came into this relationship with each other, but we can observe it, and once we observe it, we can predict that it's going to do X, Y, or Z because of it.
You put your hand on the burner, it's going to burn your hand. That's what we know. So basically, what we have to do is sort of, and this is going to be kind of a bummer for people like us who are big sci-fi fans and kind of fantasy fans. We got to throw away the ink squid that lives time in a circle, and we got to say, well, what we're looking for is any planet that could be us. We know, and if we meet an alien, they might look a little different than we do, but I don't think. But the idea here, according to one of these researchers,
I want to find my exact doppelganger.
No, well, that's probably more likely. It's more likely than finding like a weird winged fucking bat creature that communicates through telepathy, right? Like,
yeah.
We will not be as surprised by aliens.
Jeff. I want to find the Anthony.
I've been looking for the Jeff my entire life. If I could just start a podcast with the Jeff,
that would be so much better.
It'd be so good. But no, so okay, we got to get rid of this sort of like, I can't wait to meet the gaseous floating life form that communicates through music. No, they're going to look relatively human. We're not going to be too surprised. And if we can say that, if we can sort of put aside the sort of fantasy that we want and think about the knowns that we have, we can then...
It certainly makes the casting easier for the movie, you know?
Sure.
Because then, you know, the effects budget goes way down, and you just go, I can just you just put little pointy ears on the the regular actor.
Can I tell you something? Hot take in the year of our Lord 2020.
Yeah.
You definitely get a more diverse cast when you can cover people in green paint. So you want to talk about making the casting of the movie easy? Yeah, you're right. We can they can guilt-free be like, well, we just met all these aliens, and all these aliens we met are white, so at least they look kind of white.
Yeah, I mean...
Can we put her in this movie? Yeah, paint her green. Paint her green. She can be in it. Don't tell nobody. Don't tell nobody.
You know what the fucked up thing is?
What?
You know what the fucked up thing is? You could be talking about several movies right now.
No shit, dude. No shit. Look at this diverse cast we have. I can't. They're either covered in ping pong balls and lycra or fucking layers of latex paint. You fucks. I can't believe you found a loophole for diversity, you fucks. Anyway, we're not talking about that. We're talking about how we got to 36.
Yeah.
So, if you operate on the assumption that a planet's life would have to take form between 4.5 and 5.5 billion years after the creation of its system star, right? That's what
That's what we did.
That's what we did. Okay. We've been producing radio waves to send out for 100 years, so that would be about the minimum time a civilization would have to be in existence and broadcasting for us to detect them, but really much longer, you know.
Because we haven't gotten our radio waves to go very far yet.
Yeah, so like...
Yeah.
It would an intelligent population would have to exist for an average of like 3,060 years to be detectable, right? That's where we're at, like 3,060 years about. So that's when we did radio. So maybe that's when they would do radio. So then we would both civilizations would need to be in existence for 6,120 years, right? Because 3,000 for us to get our message to them. 3,000, because that's the closest star. The closest star with the planet. We need to have
buffer years on either side.
So not only do they have to exist long enough to send the message, they got to exist long enough to get the reply back.
Okay.
So that's what's one of the craziest things about intergalactic communication or interstellar communication right now that I love is like, maybe we send a message to them and it gets there, right? We sent a message 100 years ago. Maybe in about 2,900 years, it gets somewhere, right?
Yeah.
They send the reply back. Are we there? Is our civilization still here when the reply gets back to us? Is their civilization still there when we're ready to reply to their reply?
Wow. You kind of just blew my mind. That's
right?
wild.
You can send it.
Awesome, there's other creatures out here. Or... we just missed them.
We just missed them.
They just eliminated all themselves.
Their phone just went on Do Not Disturb. They just missed it, man. Oh, sorry. I was I was going through a tunnel. You know, like it's gone.
That's why you can't have any small talk with the alien civilizations. You know, you can't have the first message be like, "Hey, how's it going?" Because by the time they answer with the how's it going, not too bad. You've already gone extinct, right? Your entire civilization is already gone, and you missed the whole response.
I try to tell everyone in my life this when they try to small talk me.
Get to the point.
Because if you can...
I could be extinct.
We don't know how much time we have, but here's what I know. You haven't said what you called me to say yet.
That's right.
Just checking in. No, don't just check in. I mean, it's sweet of you to just check in. Just check in through it, but do it through a text, and a quick text. It's like, just checking in. Are you okay? Thought I'd ask because blank, right?
Yeah.
That's the message. It's not, hey.
Yeah.
What's up?
I need a point. We need to move forward.
Go.
We could all be extinct tomorrow. Who knows?
What am I, fucking Yeats? What am I, fucking... what am I, fucking Robert Frost? I don't have time for your flowery prose, okay?
That's right.
I don't have time.
I appreciate it. It's beautiful. I appreciate directness. Yes.
It's beautiful, and I would listen, send it in a card. Put it on a poster of an autumn forest with a cat hanging off a branch. But tell me what you need to tell me,
Yeah.
So
theoretically, this kind of puts the Great Filter into a different context, right? Because we still have to deal with the Great Filter, but potentially it's just ships in the night.
Right. So the last time we
mean?
talked about the Great Filter, we talked about it in terms of their sun explodes. There's an intergalactic war. They destroy their own civilization, and all of those things could still happen.
They elect a reality show host as their leader of the most powerful nation on their planet.
Who knows what happened?
You don't know what it could be.
Who knows what happened? But for whatever reason, there are, when you think about it in terms of time, when you really do think about it in terms of, hey, it's going to take at least 3,000 years for the message to get there, it doesn't seem so like, oh my gosh, they get the message just as Krypton explodes.
Yeah.
There isn't an ancient Rome anymore. Like there isn't we could have just missed their civilization. We could have just missed it. Maybe they moved beyond the technology, and then all of a sudden, like, in a few hundred years, will radio waves be anything but quaint for us?
That's a great point. Yeah, maybe we just stop listening for radio waves.
Maybe we're just like, oh, we don't do that. We do it on the subspace light band now.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, we're looking for subspace light. Maybe we're using some form of like atomic, like particle communication, like we're working on right now. Once we move to that, do we need radio waves, and will we still be listening?
Well, that's a really interesting point. Is that as we progress technologically, I mean, it sounds like we're talking tongue in cheek, and I guess we kind of are, because I guess you'd still kind of be open to any, outdated technology.
Yeah.
But
I mean, look, there are still ham radio operators out there, but there just aren't many,
But the presumption is that if we've progressed this far technologically, whatever civilization we're talking at has also progressed that far technologically, or at least to reach us, they would have to. When in reality, they could be primitively sending stuff out and we're just missing, we're just not synced up.
Yeah. By the time it happens, we're just like, well, okay, well, we sent the message, they got it, but they weren't listening for it.
It's like love, Anthony. As soon as you stop searching for it, it happens to you. You know what I mean?
That's what I learned from a lot of fucking Katherine Heigl movies.
Exactly. It's the Katherine Heigl theory of intergalactic, extraterrestrial.
When we talk about
outreach.
Heigl and Heigl's theories and Heigl's theorems, we're talking about Katherine. So if you're talking about any other Heigl,
was that not clear?
We don't want to hear about it. We're just talking about.
I'm glad we clarified that.
We're talking about the 37 dresses. That's what we're talking about. So by mapping out all of the known planets, Goldilocks zone, they've been around for this long, they potentially, like, blah, blah, blah. All of those potential planets boils down to, as far as we know right now, a number of 36.
I love how specific that is. That's still a pretty high number. I mean, it's more
than nothing.
Yeah. I wouldn't have guessed that high, quite frankly. But that's, I guess out of infinity, it's a small number, but it's a big enough number that gives me hope.
Yeah.
Gives me hope that we're going to still have, 36 is enough to have, a sort of star war where you have all kinds of different species all interacting in one crazy cantina.
You can fill
you know
a cantina for sure.
Yeah.
You can fill a cantina for sure. But here's the problem. Based on what we know now, it'll mostly just be humans milling around a cantina, which is not as exciting.
Not as exciting, but if you get into a conversation with them, you find out they're from this other planet. They're planet 31.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Now let me ask you something, Jeff.
Yeah.
You said planet 31. Do you think we're planet number 1?
I mean, from our perspective, I guess we'd have to be, right?
I bet we make it. I'm going to say Earth is definitely in the 30s. I'm going to think that Earth is definitely in the 30s, and I'm going to say that we make it. Maybe we're planet 31. 31 or 32 sounds right. To join like the galactic order of planets out of 36, I think we're 32. We're about where America is on the
education
healthcare
list.
Education
and healthcare list. Yeah, I would venture to guess that that's probably the number one argument that happens in the cantina is what number you are in the space listing is because everyone thinks their planet is number 1 and then all the other planets are in relation to them. It probably causes some real disagreements in the cantina.
And it's funny because it's going to be like. Like the first 4 that form it are going to be the ones that really argue it. And then we're all just arguing for scraps. It's very much.
It's so true.
The benevolent order of planets is really a lot like a high school lunchroom. You know what I mean? You can only get as high. You can only get as high as your caste will allow, but you want to be the highest you can within that caste.
You want to be seniors forever,
So 36, I mean, here's the thing. And I'm going to put this out here. We've heard other very convincing theories for other numbers before, but I do like this one. But we should take this with as much of a grain of salt as any of these other theories that we've had. What I do like is that they are kind of doing a little less guesstimating and a little more like, I like the lack of magical thinking, right? I
like that it's not a big, nice round number.
Yeah.
It feels nice that it's like, ooh, 36.
Yeah. Well, it's so funny. They could have gone 35. They could have gone 40, but I think that would have sounded too round to us. Yeah. I think 36 really makes us listen. 36 goes, shit, there's some math behind this.
These guys went real hard on the specifics.
They locked it down. But I do like that it's like, hey, I know that we want to account for everything, but fuck that. Here's what we know, and here are the only things we can prove, and let's go based on that, because that's what science is supposed to be.
It also leads me to believe that there's not just one Jeff and Anthony. There's 35 of them.
Wow.
Or 36 of them, I guess. So we're 37 in this scenario. There's 36 others, right? There's 37 total.
Do you think you'd get along with a you from another planet or another universe?
I barely get along with myself. You'd like to think that you would be aligned in some way, but man, I don't know. I'd probably get annoyed with me.
I think seeing me acting the way I act and like, I think maybe from the outside, it would be too easy for me to see where my flaws come from. Like maybe it would be good for me, I think.
Yeah.
But
I think I'd never be satisfied. I'd never be satisfied with my haircut. I'll tell you that, because I'd see it from angles I've never seen it from before.
Which, by the way, we're not saying that 36 different planets to support life genuinely mean there are 36 different versions of us. That's not how it works. It's not written by Grant Morrison. Okay,
it could be.
It could be written by Grant Morrison.
We're also not ruling it out.
We would never rule out a multiverse. We would never rule out multiversity. I'll tell you who I do get along with, Jeff. The lovely people in our Discord server.
Those are the best people. They truly are. It's like we have naturally selected the finest humans to create a utopia online inside the Discord servers.
A benevolent order of planets right there on Discord.
It's wild.
It's great.
It's wonderful.
It is populated by our patrons, people who support us on patreon.com/wehaveconcerns. Support us for at least $1 a month. and you get access to the Discord. We don't just talk about the show there. There are channels where you can talk about anything. People are talking about games. We're talking about tech. People are leaving pet photos, and I love the pet photos. You know I love the pet photos. But there's a lot going on.
There's an entire bird pranks channel just for reporting and being vigilant about bird pranks wherever they may be.
I fucking love it. And you should join us there. Head to patreon.com/wehaveconcerns. And if you support us for a little bit more a month, you get to go to video hangouts every month. You get early episodes. You get bonus content. It's very, very good. And it is the one and only way we fund and support the show. So please consider it. Patreon.com/wehaveconcerns.
Hey, Anthony.
Hey, Jeff.
You know, we talk about things that we're concerned about here on We Have Concerns. And
it's right there in the name. It's on the tin, baby.
It's not a mystery, but often that can get a little dark, a little dreary, a little hopeless. Mm-hmm. But sometimes it's nice.
We break into song.
To talk about. Sometimes we break into song. Sometimes we're talking. No, sometimes we can talk a little hopeful. We can find stories that give us a glimmer of optimism out there in that dark world.
I can do it for about 20 minutes before I start retching, but let's go.
All right, well, start the clock, because here we go. This is a story that is, I find hopeful, dare I say, whimsical. There's some whimsy in this science story. And I love a good science story with some whimsy.
Wes Anderson me, baby. Put a little bit of that in my science. Put a little of that Pushing Daisies Brian Fuller into my science.
Yeah, right, baby? Yes. This is a story that was posted to our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/group/We Have Concerns. This was posted by Megan Hesselink. Megan posted a story about bees. And yes, the story starts in a dark place. All the bees are dying. We don't know exactly why, and it's bad.
It's real bad.
It's potentially planet-altering bad.
We've talked about these bees. We know what's up with these bees.
We've talked about these bees, and we've talked about all the different ways that science is attempting to deal with the bee death problem, from trying to figure out and diagnose the reason that bees are dying and prevent it, to literally creating tiny robot drone bees that can pollinate flowers for them so that we can continue to have life on this planet. Because basically, bees have a big job.
Yeah,
they pollinate flowers, and in order for us to have food and oxygen and all kinds of fun stuff that we need to live.
When there was one set of footprints in the sand, a bee was carrying you. You get it.
You get it. So we have tried. We have tried to create drone bees, and even though the drone bee is only a few centimeters large, it is actually a marvel of engineering.
Yeah, that's actually really crazy when you think about it. To get that working, and have them be as autonomous and functional as they are in that small a package. That's wild.
It is. It's incredible, and it continues to be worked on. So it is not a failure, but scientists have noted that the drone bees, even as amazing as they are,
turn on their masters.
They eventually will destroy us all, and that seems like a flaw in the design.
But
really.
It also seems poetic, It seems fair.
Yeah. But even though it's very tiny, only a few centimeters long, it still damages flowers. There is some flower damage when they attempt to use these drones at any kind of scale.
Okay.
So scientists have continued to try to find other ways.
Just because of weight, or because of the imprecise motions of the bees, or
all of the above. They're small, but they're still too kind of large and cumbersome to be as delicate as an organic bee can be.
Gotcha.
And so they cause some damage when they interact with the flowers and try to pollinate them. So this is an imperfect solution, and scientists have continued to refine and try to come up with a more perfect solution. Enter our story today, which I find delightful. There is a scientist by the name of Dr. Ijiro Miyako from the Japan Advanced Institute of Science and Technology, and he is developing a way to pollinate flowers in lieu of bees with bubbles.
Get wrecked. No way.
bubbles.
Oh, that
Full
is
on,
whimsical.
right?
Fuck.
It is the bubbles will save us all. The bubbles everywhere, bubbles just carrying pollen from flower to
Picturing
flower.
small children in overalls and sundresses just blowing into the little plastic wands and just pollinating flowers and sneezing because maybe they're just like a teeny bit allergic, but not so much that it hurts them, but just enough that it's cute.
Yeah,
You know?
I love it.
Oh, it's just tickling their nose a little bit.
Is there anything more delightful than a child with bubbles? There
No.
isn't.
Do you remember? Okay, listen. I know a lot of stuff in my life comes back to this, but the Robin Williams movie toys.
Oh my God, you do bring that up quite a lot.
It's a very seminal thing in my life. I love the Robin Williams movie toys, but there's this bit at the end that is one of the most beautiful fucking shots I think I've ever seen. It's Barry Sonnenfeld, that is most Sonnenfeldian I think he's ever been. But it's this beautiful field of yellow wildflowers, and this statue of a pink elephant all of a sudden becomes lighter than air and starts floating over it and blowing bubbles as the music starts playing at the end of the movie. And I'm like, damn, that's a fucking sight. That's how I picture this looking.
Right? Yes. This is. In fact, that's what they're using, is an oversized elephant that floats in the air. No.
That's all I wanted to hear.
Spectacular. I remember going when I was growing up in the Bay Area as a young boy, and there was this place called the Exploratorium.
Yes, I love the
Exploratorium.
Exploratorium.
Amazing place, especially if you're a kid who likes tinkering with things. And they had one time this famous bubble artist come and do a talk, and my parents took me and my sister, and I remember so vividly sitting in this auditorium, which seemed huge to me at the time, but probably was the size of like a small classroom.
Sure.
You know, it was this tiny little place. And I remember him sitting on a stool and creating these bubbles and creating square bubbles and making bubbles on bubbles and blowing smoke into bubbles and creating these chains of bubbles. And he had this whole... It was like a magic show, but it was all
world
bubbles.
Before YouTube, when you had to go to a museum to see shit like that.
That's exactly right. That was our YouTube. You're so right. Oh man.
Oh, that's so good. Oh, bubbles are so good. So what's up? This guy I picture him in red overalls. He's gonna go blow bubbles and like pollinate things.
Well, the first problem that Dr. Miyako had to solve is you can't just use regular soap bubbles because the soap is not good.
Yeah,
the
idea of this is just we have a mixture. Just so I understand the base of this, we have a mixture of bubble fluid and pollen, and we're using some sort of machine to like blow these bubbles that carry these bubbles that are covered in pollen, and then they will then land on flowers and pollinate the stuff.
Evidently, what's happening is they're enclosing the pollen in a bubble,
like the smoke.
Like the smoke, exactly. They're literally putting pollen in the bubble and using the bubble as a delivery system, a gentle, beautiful, whimsical delivery system to when it makes contact with the flower, it pops and all of the pollen is released from the bubble and spreads over the surface of the flower, pollinating the flower.
Damn, that's dope.
Isn't that dope, dude? That is, it's like the most elegant, beautiful solution to a thing.
Damn, that's dope.
Yeah. And evidently Dr. Miyako thought of this when his child was playing with the bubbles in the backyard. He literally was like, wow, that's beautiful. Wait a second.
Wait a second. It's awesome. Not beautiful. It's functional. Fuck you, son.
Well, that's what happened. There's literally a line in this article on BBC.com about how he then commandeered his kid's bubble gun and took it to work with him, and the kid cried all night until he bought him a new one.
Oh my God, that is hilarious.
Yeah. So he takes it to the lab. He takes this bubble gun of his son's to the lab, and he confirms via an optical microscope that these soap bubbles can carry pollen.
Right.
So the first step is, can the pollen even be transported via bubble? Turns out, yes. But then he goes, well, I can't use soap bubbles. Everything that a kid in the backyard would create a bubble out of, or even a magical magician at the Exploratorium would create a bubble out of, is a pretty toxic substance for a flower. If we're talking about making sure flowers live longer, we don't want to coat them with soap. So he had to come up
like
with
a little soap and water in the morning to clean your flowers, make them like nice and fresh. I don't know.
Is that what you do with all your plants in the house?
I don't have any plants. All my plants are fake.
All my plants. Well, that's why you
see
put
these
soap
two,
on
you
them.
see these two plants right there? Those are both fake. They're all fake. So I literally do soap and water my plants. Is that not what you do with real ones?
I mean, that's not what you do with real plants, it turns out. I mean, this is what science is telling us right now, is that pouring soap on plants, not so good.
I'll believe it when I see it. Soap on my plants, bleach in my veins is what I say. That's what I always say to myself.
So he had to come up with what he's referring to as chemically functionalized soap bubble.
Whoa, an all-natural vegan soap bubble.
All-natural bespoke soap bubble. Each bubble, by the way, carries up to 2,000 grains of pollen.
And costs $273.
Just a pop. They last 14 seconds. Which is a long time for a bubble, by the way. A long time.
Listen,
these are industrial.
The quality of these bubbles. There is a couple that used to live in the city, and he was a creative director, and she worked in advertising as well, and they decided they had too much of it, and they went off. They moved to Portland in a VW microbus that they had rehabbed themselves. And they make these bespoke vegan soap bubbles one at a time. And I'll tell you, sure, just 3 ounces of this bubble liquid costs $438. But the quality of these bubbles.
You've not seen a bubble like this. Plus, it's really your conscience that feels good knowing that these bubbles was each created by hand.
Yeah, by two people that also have trust funds and 401ks. And I think when you see a child playing with the natural soap bubbles versus these big brand corporate soap bubbles that pull all the fun out of soap, you can really tell the kid doesn't know why they're feeling different, but they feel it, I think. And they seem much healthier. If a kid inhales a soap bubble, they probably automatically have asthma. Just one soap bubble, they say. One
soap bubble will give you asthma. Yep. That's what they say. And it's nice because this couple, they're branding their soap Clean Soap, which is, it can be a little confusing, but ultimately you get it once you read into it a little bit.
Dude, they're so tired of hearing, but isn't it all clean soap? They're so tired of that. They're like, no, you don't get it, man. We worked in advertising. We worked in advertising. We have definitely focus grouped this. We don't work in advertising anymore.
No, now we live in a van.
We're calm, natural people.
So Dr. Miyako and his team, what they did was, after they came up with this chemically functionalized soap bubble substance that can carry 2,000 grains of pollen, they had to test it. So they visited a pear orchard, and get this, Anthony, I don't know if I was not aware of this. Maybe you are aware of this. This pear orchard, because of the problem with bees, had been actually pollinating all of their pear plants, all the trees in their pear orchard, using a feather brush. They've been pollinating by hand. They literally go around with a brush, brushing pollen on all of their trees.
We have fucked the world irreparably.
We have.
It's insane. Fucked the world irreparably. Literally going around as if fucking farmers don't have enough shit. They got to go around and carefully brush pollen on things now.
Isn't that insane? That's insane.
Just to make food do what it naturally does. Food just does this.
I know, and a pear is still like 65 cents. And yet someone brushed a tree.
Hand-painted pears. I was making a joke. And here we are at hand-painted pears. Fuck, man. Pears.
Okay, so they go to this pear orchard where people had been, just looking for any kind of hope to not have to brush the trees again.
How much earlier do you have to get up in the morning?
To do a good tree brushing. Yeah, I don't know. That's a day. I'll tell you. So they They literally outfitted a drone, a large drone, not those tiny bee drones, but like a large full-size like consumer drone with a bubble gun with this solution and with pollen. And they went around and pollen and blew bubbles at the trees. Just is fucking amazing. I just love this.
And yet I connect a paintball gun to my drone and I'm a monster. And the neighbors hate me.
Yeah.
Figure that one out. Right?
Talk about a double standard.
Figure that one out. Am I not science?
I think you are.
Thank you.
I always think you're science.
So they had a bubble gun on this drone and they were spraying the bubbles around. And what happened?
Yep. So they did the exact same volume of trees that you would do if you were hand brushing them to test it out, right? And then they started. They came back 16 days later, which is the normal amount of time it would take to find out if things have been pollinated or not. Do you want to guess the rate of pollination from the bubbles?
Like. What percentage?
What percentage of success did they find?
95.
That's exactly right.
Boom.
It was 95% pollinated.
Margin of error on anything computerized is always 5%, my dude.
I think that's extraordinary. So basically, did the job of the brushing, did the job of the hand pollinating.
Well, let's take it back because we're already refactoring this in an unhealthy way. It did not do the job of the person painting the tree, Jeff. It did the job of the bees, which we must save.
This is true.
Right?
This is
so
true.
Let's be careful about how we frame that because we still, goal number 1, save bees. Goal number 2, alternative just in case bees. But first, save bees.
Ask any 6-year-old, would you prefer a field of bees or a field of bubbles? And I think maybe we don't need to save the bees anymore.
I mean, if you told me specifically as a child, it's a beautiful wildflower field. It can either be full of bees or full of robots with bubble guns. I'd be like, well, shit, my dreams just came true. I hate bees.
Exactly.
I'll run all day from a bee.
But now every farm you go to is just a fucking bubble heaven.
It's just a fucking Simon Stollenhag book, man. It's just Tales from the Loop. That's all it is.
I'm so into this. Okay, so there are some issues.
Okay.
It's not without the downside. They say the technique creates a lot of waste, which I'm assuming is like this bubble juice goop everywhere.
Bubble juice goop. You remember that old 50s song, Bubble Juice Goop? Oh, I know what I want.
Also, there is an issue that bees never really have to run into, or I guess rarely have to run into.
Also, the drone rotors are catching and killing bees. The bees just get sucked up into the drone rotors, which is a problem.
It's true. The bees don't know not to show up anymore. They don't know that their job has been taken.
The few remaining bees that are left that are just trying to live their lives. And we listen, once again, goal number 1 is to save the bees. Goal number 1 is to save the bees. Goal number 2 is to get this drone thing working. But in the pursuit of goal number 2, which is our safety goal, we are killing a large number of the remaining bees.
Yeah, you can't make an omelet, right? You can't make an omelet without killing bees. That's what they say, right? No, the other thing that the bees don't usually have to deal with, but bubbles, of course, do. It's really the enemy of bubbles, and that is wind.
A little sister, just popping just with a stick. Stop
it's wind, Anthony. It's wind. The wind can catch the bubbles and push them to places that you don't want them to go. And so there is an issue with your drone flying around, creating large amounts of wind, and then pushing the bubbles.
So pollination.
In a direction.
So I guess pollination would have to occur. We would have to watch wind speed and wind and all that stuff, and then make sure the drones could fly towards the field in a way that was upwind and not downwind, so it wouldn't fuck up the bubbles.
Yes.
And then eventually what we want to do is create a tiny nano drone that's the size of a particle of pollen that can control the bubble.
Exactly. It just keeps going all the way down. You know what I'm saying?
Then you need a tiny bubble inside that tiny drone to make it lighter than air.
It does say that the drone was able to hit targets from 2 meters away with a success rate of 90%.
That's not bad.
So skillful drone
Bees need to
piloting.
touch the flower. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
bees need to
This
get
is
right up on there.
We're just shooting bubbles at flowers. That's what we're doing.
This is just a sawed-off shotgun of pollination is all it is. Spray and pray,
I'm in
baby.
love with this story. I think this story is beautiful. It's inspiring, and it kind of it makes bees obsolete in every way.
Once again, Jeff. Once again.
Wait, what? What?
Goal number 1, we want to save the bees. Goal number 2, make the drones useful just in case we can't save the bees. But remember that goal number 1 is saving the bees.
Yeah, no, I get that. But like also, what if goal number 2 is so good that it kind of invalidates goal number 1?
I hear you. But at the same time, why don't we not mess with the natural order of things to the point where 200 years from now, everything is a synthetic robot because we've replaced every natural process and the Earth can no longer sustain itself without a complex web of AI.
I guess that makes a fair point. I don't want to go too far into the bubble economy.
You don't want to listen.
Saying?
We come in here with tiny drones that pollinate flowers, and we come out at Horizon Zero Dawn. Do you know what I'm saying? Like we come out.
There's never been
riding a robot antelope.
I'm just thinking that there's never been an economic problem that has been described as a bubble. You know what I'm saying? That has been an issue.
Not an unsolvable one in any way. And I'll tell you what, the other thing that we don't have any issues with is just ever so carefully rebalancing nature the way we see fit. That tends to work out in our favor as well. So with those two things in mind, okay, I'm going to give my full support and funding to the Robot Bee project.
See, this is a positive story for once. There's nothing to be concerned about
There's
here.
Literally
We're
nothing.
finally in the land of pure whimsy. I love it.
Here's what I do genuinely love is I think when you said that this is a beautiful story that's just pure whimsy in the beginning, I think you genuinely meant it until I came up little sister style with a stick and started popping your bubble.
As you always do.
That is my
always
job.
pop my bubble.
That is my job. It is a promise. It is a goal. I will always be here to ruin shit, and that is the goal of the show.
It's kind of how we balance each other out.
The goal of the show is
guess.
for me to just like pop up and be like, hey, think it through. Think it through.
Yeah, but Anthony.
No.
Yeah.
Oh boy. But if that kind of pessimism is what you want in your life in the year of our Lord 2020, if you just aren't getting enough pessimism,
Yeah.
we're here for you.
We can all use a little extra, right?
We can all use just a little bit more pessimism. That's why we're here. And if you appreciate that we're here for you with our pessimism, please do consider heading to patreon.com/wehaveconcerns and supporting the show.
We can't be pessimistic without your money.
We can't be pessimistic. The more money we get, the more pessimistic we are. I feel like if I could simplify that into a song lyric, it would be great. But what I can say, and this is the most brevity I can put into it, is the more money we obtain, the more pessimistic we become.
Is there a way to?
There's no way
say more, but shorten that.
There's no way to
shorten
do it.
the more.
There's no way.
Okay.
There's no way.
I guess that's true.
This is the shortest it can be. Also, other great ways that you can help us out. Just spread the word. That's a huge one.
Tell your friends, or if you don't have friends, acquire some and then tell them.
Pretend to be their friend just long enough where you get to the point where you're having that conversations about what podcasts you listen to.
Yes.
Recommend our show and then fucking ghost them.
There's nothing more satisfying than spending weeks and months establishing a relationship with someone, built on lies simply to promote our podcast and then ghosting them and having the satisfaction.
Fucking ghost them, my dude.
Because you know what's going to happen? They're eventually going to work through over 600 episodes of this show, and they're going to arrive at this episode, and they're going to hear this conversation, and they're going to go, it was me.
That's a grift, baby. That's the long con. That's what we're all in it for. And it really does help us in all seriousness, because since we've been back, there are a lot of people. I get so many tweets or messages like every week. They're just like, oh my God, I didn't know you were back. Oh my God, I didn't know you were back. So the faster we can spread the word, get those concerned citizens back, and then ghost them, the better.
Yes. Do you remember when we ghosted our entire audience?
For 2 years,
ago?
we ghosted you.
That's what we do.
Do you know how satisfying it felt?
Oh, it was great.
Listen to me. You can never ghost us. That's not allowed. But you can recommend the show to other people and ghost them. You can also support us at patreon.com/wehaveconcerns. You can send stories in through our Discord, through our email, which is wehaveconcernshow@gmail.com, through our Facebook groups or subreddits. That's all linked in the thing that comes along with the episode. We love you, concerned citizens.
Thank you. Thank you. And I'll always remember, if you want to tweet your friend about the show, use that hashtag, I'm going to ghost you.
That's the way. It's a secret code that only we'll know.